What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Razy Podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to the show. So if you guys are watching me on YouTube, you might have noticed I have a different angle for my cameras today. Because one of my memory cards for my camera is not working well. So had to improvise. And so I actually got the camera from my iPad and I'm using it to record today. Yeah, for one of the angles. I still have the GoPro right there. And the iPad camera here. Yeah, I just want to let y'all know if you guys are watching on YouTube, I usually have the other camera right there, right in front. But this time, nah. This time I just had to improvise. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. Let's talk about the bullet, Valentina Shevchenko. She should have won, man. I don't know why they did not give her the title. This should not have been a draw at all. Man, it just really does suck, man, because I was going for her for the win. Like, I made my choice last week on who would win between Shevchenko or Grasso. And I was going for Valentina Shevchenko for the win. Because I just like her style and I thought she was going to win. And in my opinion, she was winning the fight. I believe she did win round 1, 3, and 4. Just the most important one for this match was basically the round 5. That was the one round that probably changed everything. Around 4 minutes in the round, Shevchenko, she was dominated the whole round. But then on the last minute, that's when Grasso actually took control of the fight for a bit, for just 1 minute. And I was surprised, man, because I thought she was gonna get KO'd or, I don't know, maybe submitted again like how she did in the very first one. But no, that was a good thing. She actually did survive in that round. And I was sure, guys, that she was gonna win this fight. I was positive. Like, I would have bet in my house that Shevchenko was going to win this match because of what I saw. She was guaranteed to win this match. But then the scorecards came in. One of the judges gave her a 10-8. 10 points for Grasso and 8 points for Valentina. What? It just doesn't make sense. It really didn't make sense because she was dominating the whole round, basically. Just the last minute. Let's just say that Grasso still won that round, right? Like, she still got the 10 points. At least give Valentina the 9 points. If she would have gotten 10-9 from that judge, she would have won. She would have actually won the fight. But no, it had to go to a draw. And Valentina was upset. And I would have been too, because damn, that would have really sucked if I was in her position as well. Shit, it just really does suck. But I gotta give it to it, man. These fights between these two women, they were pretty good. These are very competitive fights between Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. Like, I did predicted that this was going to be a hard fight for Shevchenko. Like, I was indecisive of who was going to win on my last episode, if you guys heard it. Like, I made my prediction of who was going to win, and now I went with Valentina. But damn, man, it just really does suck. Even on the interviews, Valentina, like, she was shocked. Like, she was telling everybody, like, that 10-8 that the judge gave her, he's going to have to live with that forever. And also, she did mention that this past week on Wednesday, the UFC actually made a seminar for all the judges so they can talk about 10-8 rounds or 10-9 rounds. Like she mentioned something like that, that the judges are now going to try to figure it out what they need to know for next time so this will never happen again. This was the fifth match in UFC history that has gone to a draw. I'm surprised. I thought maybe there would have been at least 10 of them, but this is basically the fifth one. I'm very surprised. Well, the UFC has been around since, I'm guessing don't quote me on this, but maybe the mid 90s. I really don't know at what time this company was actually created, but it has been around. It has been around almost since my age. So, and I'm so surprised of how Valentina Shevchenko actually got through this whole match, because she did mention she did injure her thumb in the very first round. And I'm just so surprised how dominant she was in this fight. Yes, he actually did get caught by Grasso at some parts of the fight, but there was just some parts in the fight where she was more dominant, she was in control more than Grasso. That she almost submitted her, and she had a broken thumb. What? Valentina is such a beast. She's just such a badass. Man, she should have won. She really should have won. And now we're probably going to have to wait a year later or so for the trilogy fight. The trilogy fights. Usually trilogy fights, they're probably like the most hyped because now each fighter, they have one, because each fighter has one over the other. And the third match is going to be the breaking one. It's going to see who is the better fighter. Oh man, shit, it was a very tough fight for Valentina, don't get me wrong. And Grasso, she was doing pretty well. But yeah, man, there's nothing else we can do. Just be a fan of the sport and just talk about it at least. This should not happen, man. Even Dana White actually believes that 10-8 score, it shouldn't have happened. It should have been a 10-9 at least. Because, yeah, Grasso did look good on the last minute of the fight. I felt like Valentina was going to get knocked out, but she never did. She never really did. It just sucks, man. It just really does suck that they could have given her that 9 points and she would have won the fight. I was confident, man. I was confident that she was gonna win. But nah, that didn't happen. The trilogy fight will probably happen maybe around August time next year. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes for Valentina this time. Because, man, she was actually close of getting KO'd in this match. And in the very first one, she was submitted. So, yeah, man, I'm so surprised of the outcome of this fight. It ended with a draw. Hopefully for the next one, they actually do give the proper winner the actual win. And now let's move on to other UFC fights that are coming up. They have actually announced that Alex Pereira, the guy who defeated Israel Adesanya, he is going to fight Yuri Prochazka. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, but he's going to fight that guy. Yuri, in that division, he got injured and he was the champion at the time. And Alex Pereira has been in a row. He has beaten Israel Adesanya and has gotten a champion on the UFC. Alex Pereira, he could be a problem for Yuri, but don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really seen any of Yuri's fighting skills. I haven't really seen him fight. Alex Pereira, he's very strong, but I don't know. Yuri could be a very technical fighter. I'm not really sure his type of fighting. I don't know if he's a ground guy or mostly he just stays on the feet the whole time. I don't really know. Not only have they announced that one, but they have also announced Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Wow, I'm just so surprised they have actually announced that fight. Tony Ferguson has been on a losing streak for the longest. He has actually lost at least 6 fights consistently. He hasn't won one of those fights. So I believe since 2020, since he fought Justin Gaethje, I think that was the fight that usually people say that changed him. Like he's not the same anymore after that fight. He was supposed to fight Khabib like more than 5 times, but they never really got to it ever. Yeah, man. Tony Ferguson is actually gonna fight one of the upcoming prospects, which is Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. To be honest, Paddy the Baddy, he's okay. He's not a bad fighter. He's good on the ground, but like his striking, I don't know. His striking is not that great, but I feel like he can get a good submission win against Tony Ferguson. Like I saw his last fight, and I don't know, man. In that fight, I don't remember the name of the guy that he fought, but that match, he did not look so good. I don't know if it was because he was in a different continent and he was fighting elsewhere, but he seemed nervous. Like he didn't seem the same Paddy the Baddy that you saw like in the very beginning. Like I saw him fight like around 2 years ago and he was very dominant. He fought some other guy and he submitted him in the very first round. Vargas, I think that's his name. That's the very first match I saw of him. He submitted him in the very first round and he was just getting cheered from everyone. He was getting cheered from everyone. Like, he's a very hype man. He's a very hype guy and people like him. But since he did one against the other guy that he just recently fought, people really did thought that he lost that fight. And I have to admit, the guy that actually beat him, I believe he won 2 rounds and Paddy only won 1 round. And because of this, like how he reacted in the interview, on the post interview, people did not like how he reacted, and that is why now he just became a heel, supposedly. And he's been out for almost a whole year because supposedly he was injured and he had to get surgery. So now he is coming back for the UFC 296 card. We're gonna see how he's gonna deal with Tony Ferguson. Can he actually take the pressure? Because if he can't, that's bad for his career. That means he can't be a top guy if he can't beat one of the legendary fighters in the sport. Tony Ferguson, as much as I don't really know of him, like I just only know some of him. I started watching the UFC in 2021, but supposedly people are calling him one of the GOATs from UFC. Tony Ferguson could potentially come back from this if he actually beats Paddy. So yeah, man. It could be a huge win for Tony Ferguson. He could still have a few more fights for him, but like it's a lose situation for Paddy. Like it will affect him even more if he doesn't get a proper win against Tony Ferguson. But I think he might because he's young, he's fast, and Tony Ferguson, he is getting older, and he is 39 years old. So yeah, man, Paddy Pimblett can actually beat Tony Ferguson. He just needs to stay focused and get on the diet, man. Because I remember just watching his YouTube videos. But sometimes he just wasn't in shape. And now that he's coming back, he needs to stay in shape and try to get ready against these guys. Because these top guys, they are not playing around. And that's a very hard division that he is fighting on. I still want to see that fight against him, against Ilian Topuria. That's a huge mega fight that can happen in the future. As long as both of them, they don't lose. Like, I could see this fight probably happening in 2025, maybe in the middle of the summer or something like that. Or maybe even later, maybe 2026, 2027. No. 2027, I think probably that might be too late. In 3 years from now, that's my prediction that fight could happen if both of them stay consistent and they don't lose. That's going to be a huge mega fight for both of them. To be honest, I cannot really say my prediction for that fight, but probably this one guy has the upper hand over the other guy. I'll say maybe Topuria because I believe he's just a better striker, and the fight that he had against Bryce Mitchell, he surprised me as well because on the ground, I was surprised because he was able to submit Bryce Mitchell, and Bryce Mitchell was another prospect that was undefeated. That fight was cool. I was going for Topuria for the win. Like, I wasn't really excited for the guy, but I knew it. I knew it that Bryce Mitchell was going to lose against Topuria. I don't know, man. Just Topuria, he seems like another level. The guy's a monster. Paddy Pimblett has a problem. He has a problem in his hands. Let's see how he can face to face against Topuria. Once they clash, that's going to be a mega fight. But let's see, when is it going to happen, man? And last but not least, I just want to speak to you about Canelo versus Jermell Charlo. I really thought that the fight was going to happen today, but no, man. It's not happening today. It's actually happening next Saturday. You probably are watching this on Tuesday, right? And on that Saturday that you're watching this episode, that Saturday, that's when Canelo and Jermell Charlo are going to fight on September 30th. Yeah, man, I was so surprised. I thought it was today. I was so excited. But nah, man. Nope. They're not going to fight tonight. I'm actually going for Canelo to win this fight. But I don't think it's going to be that easy against Jermell Charlo. This guy has power on his hands. And Canelo, on his last fight, he seemed like he's been decreasing. Like, he seemed like he's not the same guy anymore. We will see him against Jermell Charlo to see how he can go against him. Maybe he can win by points, but I don't think there's going to be a KO. We'll see, man. We'll see. For my prediction, Canelo's going to win that fight. Hopefully. Because if he doesn't win, we will probably never get to see him fight against David Benavidez. And that's a fight that everybody's been wanting for so long. They've been wanting David to fight Canelo for the longest. But like, Canelo hasn't responded to David. because there was a contract that David Benavidez sent to Canelo, but Canelo's team never responded. So yeah, man, this is gonna be a huge mega fight if that ever happens. But can he get past Jermell Charlo? That's the thing we're all waiting for to see. I believe so, but I don't think it's not gonna be that easy. And hey guys, I think that is it for this podcast. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you did made it this far, make sure to follow this podcast on whatever platform you are listening to it. If you are listening to it on Spotify or Facebook, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also follow the podcast as well. As always, guys, take care and live to the fullest. Bye.